Hey everybody, it's just Marco here, and I am here to show you another miniature set that I built for my first movie. So, this is sort of the plan that I made, and I have all these different windows in the front, and I pretty much just designed the front and didn't even think about anything else, and then just built everything else all along. Because I came up with like a pretty easy method of like, oh, I won't have to do very much here. Um, but some things, really quick things that I liked about this design that I made. I really love like these white sort of panels at the top that continue. I love all these different like colored panels too, and I love this is my favorite part, the door with the no solicitor sign on a front door of a house. I mean, how weird and creepy is that? Like, nobody should have that ever on their on their home's front door. I mean, that is just bizarre. So I thought that that would be the perfect thing to add. So this is Amy's house. This is the main female character in the film. And I'm still working on getting her cast. Pretty much the deadline for that, the new deadline is June 1st. So I believe by June 1st or 2nd, I will have made my decision. Or I'll just have to keep looking around and trying to find someone who's serious. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool house. I didn't want it to be too weird, and then I built it, and spoiler alert, it completely turned out to be bizarro, weird, off the wall. It looks like a set for like a an Addams Family movie or something, like it just looks completely like crazy. It looks like something that I don't know, it's nothing like this picture pretty much. Like there might be a couple of similarities, but overall just take a look at that and then take a look at this. So, I am not completely finished yet. I'm still working on the painting. Like, you can tell, like, these lines have to be shortened. And then, I have to put all the grass on. And then I have to do some touch ups here. I have to add some flowers here and here. I have to add the mailbox right there. I forgot about that, honestly. And then I thought that this would be fun to add. I added this fake planet Saturn, and this is obviously tribute to the Fearless Vampire Killers, which I just watched and reviewed. And I just thought the planet Saturn, like that is how you know this is a weirdo house. I mean, look at this. Just imagine you're driving on the street and you say, "Oh, I don't want to fucking go to that house," and then you go off and you leave. You don't stop at this place. Like, who the fuck would want to go here? Like, I know that it might look cool, but just imagine, like in real life, someone who would own this type of place, like some neighborhood where there's just like this house at the end of the street, and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, this could be a meme. You could make a meme where it's just, and you could be like, hashtag Ohio. I mean, hashtag Ohio, even though this doesn't take place in Ohio. So I'm gonna kind of like explain everything and how I made it and talk about the process. I would say it's about like 85% complete, maybe just 80% if I'm being like really, really hard on myself. There are some things I don't like about it, some things that I'm really upset about, like this over here, which Yeah. So this driveway, as I was talking about, this house design, it's a composite of three other houses that I looked at from the three other people that inspired this character. And I thought it would be a great idea to, make it look like, sort of like, a composite of those people's houses, because it's more true to life. And one of the things was this awful looking driveway. I mean, it looks so gross. It just looks like this cracked up, ugly piece of crap driveway, and then I have it go all the way up to the front, like ooh. And the fact that like all the grass, even at the real house, all the grass is taken care of. There's bird feeders in front, and then you have this driveway. And this is all felt. This is all felt. I had to do some weird trimmings and gluing around here with hot glue. Basically, what I used was felt, Model Magic, paint. Uh, there's a little pin cap here that I used for the thing to hold up Saturn. Uh, I used a Wendy's utensil plastic package for the windows. So this is from Wendy's. Wendy's plastic from Wendy's spoons for Wendy's Frosties. And then cardboard, obviously, masking tape. So let's start. Let's start the building process. So this is the first thing that I did right here, this section. This looks a lot closer to what I wanted it to look like. But one of the biggest issues I had, which ended up being kind of a blessing in disguise, was the cracking on the Model Magic. And I was very surprised by this because you can see up here, that did not crack. This sculpture did not crack at all. And, these wooden frames did not crack. So why did, like, every single part of this crack? Like, look, guys, like, it's ridiculous. And then look, this is supposed to be a garage door. It's cracked. It's all cracked everywhere. It looks like trash. And this is the only normal looking part, basically, this one little section. But oh look, no, it's not. That's cracked too. So that was very irritating. But at the same time, besides the damage to the important parts, it actually looks really, really cool. Like, the way that it looks on the stone, it just looks so incredible in my opinion. It looks a lot better than what I thought it would be. So, here's another example. I mean, that just looks really, really nice. Really, really cool. Even though it's like, I could just peel this off right here. Like, see? Oh, whoops. I'm going to have to hot glue that. And then I added this on here. Originally, I wanted it to be like dark gray. And then I painted like a red and brown on top of that. And it made this like really cool, like candy apple type of color. And I thought it looked really good with this color. I was having a lot of trouble trying to figure out what color to make the stone of the house. Because the stone color that I was modeling it after, I could not figure out how to properly mix that color because it just seemed like a bunch of random bland colors kind of sprinkled together, and I was kind of like figuring out, how do I do that? How do I make that look good? So instead, I mixed together brown and black, and then I covered the whole thing. And then on top of that, I put white in the brown and black, and that is the stone. and then I add a couple of random brown bricks here and there. So then I built this. And yeah, 5441 Aurora Street is the address of this fake house. And I think it looks pretty good aside the cracking. I even had to add in this wall right here. You can't even see it anymore. But there's, okay, you can kind of see it. There is like a wall here that I had to add because it was almost, because I added this and then I had to add that, and then this is like a 3-part roof. So I added this part in the front to just hold this together, and then I added this on top of it, and then I added this over here, which is a 2-parter. There's 2 pieces of cardboard that are, if you can kind of, looks pretty bad like that, but then if you zoom out, it's like, oh, that looks pretty good. Yeah. You can see all the cracking everywhere. And so the thing that I decided that made this whole process so much easier, what the hell is this? I thought this was a bulge, like maybe the tape was like bulging outward. The thing that I decided though was that what if this was like a house where, you'd have all these windows in front, the part where people would see the house, and then you go over here and there's nothing. And there's just something like really creepy about that. There's just this one window, and that's Amy's bedroom. There's just this one window. There's no other windows in this 2-story house except for the ones in front. I thought that was a really like good idea. On the surface, it's also a really good idea because it it makes it so that I don't have to make as many windows, which is a pain in the ass to say the least. And let's describe the process of making the windows. So first off, I carve out the window and the cardboard. That I do with a Swiss Army knife scissors. Then I cover the whole thing with clay, and then I add this clay thing in, this cross for the window, and then I paint everything, and so I have to wait for it to dry for hours, and then I have to take it in and hot glue the plastic behind that. So yeah, the less windows, the better. Windows have basically, I would say windows and grass have become the biggest pains in the ass to make for these models and dioramas. And these whole sections are clay. I had to add these, and it's so funny because they're hardly cracked at all. See, I can kind of poke it, prod it, and ruin my own work. And yeah. And look, here's like a little hot glue turd. And we'll talk about this whole roof situation. You guys are gonna laugh at it. You can see inside there, got a little glory hole. Amy's house has glory hole action. And so I went from this to this, like, that's how I built it. I built it like from left to right. And I made one huge mistake though. And by the way, I thought this was a nice door color as well. It's kind of the same color as this, but then I added some brown on top of it too, brown and white. Putting these roofs on before finishing the whole house below it was a huge, huge mistake. And I did not make this mistake when I made the mansion or the restaurant. I only made the mistake with this because I just think I've been so sick recently, and so I've just been completely making weird choices at certain points because I'm just like, you know, whatever. Which it isn't the worst thing in the world. So what I had to do was, and we'll go back to the front to show it, I had to cut a hole in the roof so that I could reach my hand to place the pieces of the house in place. So that is three different pieces. One, two, three. And I had to cut this hole. And you can see how that was the first piece. It was held up by that. And then I added this one in today. And then I added that other one in today. And then I thought I can also add this kind of on top. And I can kind of do something with that that'll be pretty cool. But that was probably my biggest flaw in making this diorama. And of course, here's the legendary front door. I mean, I love like the lines on this one, even though it's cracked. Look, the letter is cracked. Look, the letter R is cracked. Like, that really irritated me with this piece. Really irritated me. And, trying to think if there's anything else besides the lighting. So lastly, unlike the restaurant, which I still need to shoot a couple of more shots for, I just need to wait for the right weather. I was having trouble like thinking about there's two shots in this movie where you see this house. Plus, I wanted to shoot maybe a shot for the sequel movie, and so that would be another shot, another day. And I thought, I can't do it like with the restaurant where I didn't put any lighting anywhere, even though I wanted to, and I wanted a neon red sign. I thought for this one, I'm going to have to add in lighting somehow so that you can see it in the evening and you can see the house lit up. And by the way, you want to know one of the funniest things about this? Well, I forgot to put plastic wrap on this window, and then I took this in the bathroom and it lit up, and I literally couldn't tell the difference between this window and all the other windows. Like, once you see lighting on in the inside of this house, it's like it doesn't even make a difference. Like, all the windows look like they don't even have plastic wrap, even though I thought, like, it looks pretty good. Like, it doesn't really look as much like plastic. It looks just like a crappy window, I guess. Like, it looks pretty good in comparison to those candy glass windows, which they were something. So what I did was I added that glory hole, and I thought I can stick a light bulb up through the hole, and then I can plug it in and turn it on, and then shoot the shots, and then that'll be that. And I got the idea from those Christmas ornaments where you have these like houses and lighthouses, and you stick the Christmas light up into the ornament. So that's where I got that from. So anyways, that is my video on the Amy's House miniature. Overall, I really like this house quite a bit. I think that it's probably in number 2 in terms of the 3 dioramas. I thought that it was way better than the mansion in some ways, but the mansion is still the best. And I definitely think it's better than the restaurant simply because there's lighting. there's going to be light in the inside. And I just think that that was a key flaw in the restaurant, was not being able to have that neon sign. Just a total disappointment. But I like them all. They all look pretty good. It's not perfect, as I said. I mean, yeah. I like the windows of the garage, though. I mean, this is just cardboard. I didn't even put anything, and I just painted it a little bit. I think that the windows in the garage look okay. There's a couple other things that I don't like. Like, there's a lot of like holes. You can't really see it, but well, I guess you can. This whole section was like a giant gaping hole, and I had to stick model magic on the inside. And so I don't like that. I think that that was irritating. Another bad flaw of this set. But what can you do? This is working on a budget. This is saying, like, okay, I can make a small thing with a small amount of money and it'll look pretty good, and that's better than nothing. So, goodbye, everybody. See you soon.